Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, May 7, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a Time for Change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, May 8th. Give or take around 9 p.m. Eastern. When you look into the outer space, and from usually it looks like when you look at the sky in the evening or night, you see white and black. Now in reality, if you were to take a starship out there and travel a few billion light years, you would see it would be like a kaleidoscope of colors. So the perspective from this planet, just with your bare eyes, is black and white. But when you get out there, it's a completely different landscape or skyscape or spacescape. You have different planets with totally different atmospheres. You have purple skies, orange skies, green skies. White soil. You've got reverse field universes. You've got liquid universes. You've got fire universes. And see, we live in a highly diverse, intelligent system, which contains various degrees of truth. And so not every truth will impact us the exact same way. Bigger truth is, the more it will expand our reality. And the smaller truth is, the more it will shrink and contract our experience of this life. Now, none of us have to decide what is a big truth and what is a small truth. Our physical body will let us know. Because our heart is the best guide for seeing how expansive or contracted a truth actually is. Now, whenever we discover a larger, more profound truth in life, a little miracle happens. Everything that once felt hard, heavy, and stuck inside us suddenly becomes exalted and liberated. We feel lighter than air, filled with a natural, spontaneous joy inside, which flows as freely as the wind. The mind stops thinking, and we experience our own source of consciousness. From here, we see life from a much more expanded perspective, and it can happen within milliseconds. As in A Course in Miracles, that which is real cannot be threatened, and that which is unreal does not exist. Now, to a lot of people, that'd be really confusing, wouldn't it? That which is real cannot be threatened. What is real? All of us in the body that are God's, pure consciousness. That's what's real. And that which is unreal, everything else, does not exist. So when you look at the first part of that which is real cannot be threatened, think about this. What is it that feels threatened inside you? What is this personality, self, ego, or that thing you call you, which defends itself when feeling attacked or provoked? What is this little you who has a need to be on guard and protect itself, trying to assert itself and attempting to achieve something important or worthwhile with their life. And then, who is this overly strong, confident, all-important you who compensates for the super small, unimportant you? It's the one who has been attempting to make your life secure by feeling self-important, accomplished, met in deep embrace by their beloved, and all the while is feeling a deep and constant separation from God. Now, in all this, who we truly are has nothing to do with who and what we think we are. Whatever we may think of and conceive of about ourselves with the mind can only be a thought. And this little thought is too small to be who or what we are. Who and what we really are is beyond any spiritual understanding of the mind in this moment, and only this moment. We can find what is actually real, and this real thing is the only thing that liberates us and binds us at the same time. Now that which is real, the real, you, does not change. And this essence is what remains the same for all eternity. Perhaps the most pivotal, enlightening truth is understanding how all identification with the ego is based in some form of fear. If we are not experiencing a state of oneness, unity, love and connection, relaxation and bliss, we are hanging out in some quality or version of fear. The ego is clinging to some thought or a process of thoughts which believes deep down that it is not one with the divine. It thinks it is not loved, accepted, embraced, or enlightened. As Osho made the statement, or the quote, the more creative you become, the more godly you become when your creativity comes to a climax. When each moment of your life is filled with creativity, you live in God. God lives in you. A real simple understanding, like enlightenment, is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. The enlightened state is a pure seeing, understanding how the ego is the greatest illusion of them all. To intimately know and become identified with the real self, that which cannot be threatened and that which never changes, is the only true path to total freedom there is. All other paths lead to some form of suffering. Requires no basic standard of ethics, codes of spirituality, or religious background needed to arrive. You simply experience yourself as the essence of consciousness, that you naturally are. So we call it, there's a lot of people call it God or soul, spirit. But in all naturality, we are pure consciousness. That's what's in each one of these bodies, pure consciousness. Which plugs into all pure consciousness throughout all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. That means all the galaxies, universes, and all that beyond that. Whenever we are living in trust 24 hours a day, we start accessing all the wisdom and knowledge known to all of the saints, masters, enlightened beings throughout the ages. We step into the greatest experience of our lives. We find our real true selves and know that we are the real masters of our destiny. See, we can, all of us, as pure consciousness, once we learn for ourselves about who and what we really are, which is pure consciousness, God, then we'll know that it will be a cinch to plug into all the pure consciousness. You could plug into all of it. You can reference all of it. You can interact with all of it on a daily basis. And one might say, how is that possible? Because we're all one. That's how possible it is. It doesn't matter what species, because those are bodies, right? Those are bodies. Now, they might look different, but it's somewhat different. But most of them are humanoid. But what's inside them? Pure consciousness. That's what's inside. We label it as God. And pure consciousness never changes. It's the only thing that's real. It's what creates all that there is, ever has been, ever, beyond, and forever. What do you think creates black holes and white holes? See, there's not much talk about a white hole. There is a white hole. There's a black hole. What does a white hole do in the vastness of space? It puts things into the universe. What does a black hole do? It takes things out of the universe. Yin and yang, balance. But this is what we are learning by choice. And you know, a fifth dimension isn't a place you go to. Okay? It isn't separate from you. You enter a fifth dimension when you get your when you consciously are aware that you've brought your frequencies to a certain level, you will be in fifth dimension, 5D. That's how it works. There isn't some kind of starship that's going to take you to fifth dimension. You're the one that will take you to fifth dimension. That's by, it is about going within and discovering that you are pure consciousness, that you're not the body. And to understand what that means, you see, it isn't possible to destroy pure consciousness. It isn't. Because why? Because everything is pure consciousness. Sure, you can destroy a construct, you can destroy a building, you can destroy trees, you can destroy planets. But you cannot destroy ever pure consciousness. Ever. And so whatever feels good, however you identify with the phraseology or the word, I am the God within the body. I am the pure consciousness within the body. Now, the word or the phrase, we were all created equal. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean the body. Okay? It does not mean the body. It means the pure consciousness, the God. Every one of us, pure consciousness, since we're one, have access to everything. This, we just don't know how to open that door, how to locate it or how to open it. And you would believe or think that, after all this time, hasn't somebody opened that door? Few, maybe. Where you live in harmony with the God that you are in the body, and you understand that the body is temporary and everything else around you is temporary, and it's just there to entertain you, so you can experience it. It's mastering by going within and understanding that, wait a minute here, this is all an illusion created by me, created by pure consciousness, so that I can experience it. It's a very advanced holographic imaging system. You really want to get technical. Who created all of it? Who created the quadrant handlers of this galaxy? The soul catching and all that stuff. Who created all? Who created the archons who cannot, they don't have the ability to feel or emotions, so they get that through us? But who created all of this stuff? We did. We're the collective consciousness. We are pure consciousness. That's what creates, see? We create it to experience it. And it's interesting because what we're doing is we're looking at it, actually discovering that for ourselves and mastering the ego mind so it then eventually evaporates, and mastering our thoughts. So we are not, we don't feel locked up in some kind of a mental prison. And I see it with people who are good people, who are healers and help people all the time, and then it's like their ego mind turns on them, and they become disheveled, emotionally distraught, and they spiral into nothingness. Why? Because they're convinced that something bad is destroying them. And that something bad is what? Them. Now, when we know our real nature, we can allow this life to play its ego personality role through us and somehow not get in the way. We can sit back, go with the flow, float, not swim, and enjoy the ride. We can remain fascinated by life, learning how we are here to serve others, take care of our body, and simply let the old intelligent life force move through us. This state of perpetual enjoyment of life is real mastery, when we remain free from all forms of ego identification. We cannot help but to enjoy all aspects of this life. We allow a greater love to always guide our course and help us live with ease and grace in every way. The choiceless truth of who you are is revealed to be permanently here, permeating everything, not a thing, and not separate from anything. Gangaji. We're in this, it's a golden ocean of pure consciousness. It's an orchestra of spiritual energy happening all around us all the time. We aren't always aware of it because our minds are so distracted and busy with those all too important things of this physical world. It's only when everything stops from some seemingly random event that we are thrown back to our real lives and can see, feel, and taste the bigger picture. In a few brief moments, the mind drops its game and we understand how divinely perfect everything is. There's a danger that we all face. The danger is that, maybe we have the old saying, you got out of the wrong side of the bed. And what happened to you? Did you get off the wrong side? Did you get out of the wrong side of the bed? You're ornery, irritable. Day just doesn't run well. The danger is that not to allow that to spiral in not only days, but weeks, months, years. And once if you get in a bad mood, if you feel yourself going into a bad mood, you should be able to stop yourself and say, you recognize, realize, and honor the fact that you are the one creating and perpetuating this bad mood. Nobody else is. Now, you may believe something outside of you is responsible for your unhappiness, yet ultimately, it all comes down to how you are responding. Are you seeing it as your teacher or your enemy? Happiness is always about the lens we are looking through. Truly enjoying this life is about taking radical responsibility for the state you're in. Exploring what this negative experience is teaching you spiritually, and then finding out the fastest way to let it go. Once you can say, I am the one creating this negative experience of my life, then half of the great battle is over. Stepping back is a great thing for all of us. You step towards freedom when is learning how to step back from whatever you're resisting, fighting, judging, or hating, and see that actually it is just a bunch of thoughts. Your problems ultimately boil down to ideas that are ultimately passing through the synapses of your brain, and whatever wrong thing you think is happening out there is always happening primarily inside your mind, in here. It has to happen inside of us before it happens outside of us. There's no other way. We can correlate that. We can connect that. So it's like, okay, so what's going on inside of me right now? This is where we begin to master our thoughts. So, we've stepped out from the ego mind, watching it, learning from it. And we realize that the thoughts that are entertaining us, we look at those thoughts and we say, okay, which one of these do I really want to put front and center? Well, which ones would I want to put front and center? Now, whatever wrong thing you think is happening out there is always happening primarily inside your mind, in here. The more resistance, judgment, and anger you've built up around this particular idea out there, the greater the joy you'll feel when you shift your relationship with it inside yourself and move on. The moment we learn how to let go of being right about how humble something or someone is, we discover how good it feels to be wrong. Haven't you, yourself, gone into supposition with yourself or guessing about something? And usually it's not a positive, it's usually a negative thing about someone, something, someplace, whatever. And then you come to find out that you were completely wrong about all of it. You ever done that? And life always provides the perfect climax at the end. Because what's in that body is pure consciousness. That's what you are. That's why you're immortal. Your consciousness doesn't die. It's immortal. It's eternal. The reason I repeat so much about the ego mind and what we believe and think we are, and that we're not these bodies, the name, the personality, the character, our belongings, our assets, whatever it may be. Now, some people believe they are their thoughts, right? Then ask yourself, who and what is watching and listening to them go by? The watcher is the real you, the pure consciousness, the God. That's the real you. You're watching all these things. You're watching all these things with the body, what's going on, emotionalities, everything, experiences, happy, good, bad, negative, positive, positive, negative. You're watching all this. It's like our bodies in this life are like a movie theater for us. And we create the movies to experience. But what happens for all of us is that we become too close to our thoughts and we get overly identified with them. And then it's a choice always. So the very moment you return to who and what you are, this pure conscious witness who abides at the very source of thought, then we are home free. Truly, deeply, sweetly relaxing fully into your body is huge. So that there is no tension hiding inside you anywhere. Look at what we do to try to relax, right? I mean, we do go through all kinds of hoops through this life trying to find a way to relax. Let it all go. Surrender. Now, when we can fully relax inside, we become deeply aware beings again. It's easy to see how insignificant and fleeting thoughts actually are. 1 minute they're here, the next minute they're gone. It's like poof, poof, poof. The more we can feel into the spiritual truth of who and what we are, we naturally pull back our attention to our real selves, the pure consciousness, the God. And it just feels good, so we naturally do it. Our spiritual nature takes care of us, and we can effortlessly enjoy this life which means we have stopped dwelling on the negative. Our bad mood turns around, and we see the beauty in everything. We are grateful for life again, even for the opportunity to shift out of this negative space. We appreciate, love, and enjoy this simple experience of being alive. We understand that if we cannot see God in all, we cannot see God at all. See, where are we headed? People say, where are we going? Where you want to go. Our life is meant to be a magical, manifesting adventure all the time. What it's meant to be. In order to experience our greatest magic, power and freedom, we must first be totally free from the grasp of fear. When our heart is truly fearless, our soul trusts that it's safe to perpetually open up to life. Nothing feels impossible. You ever say to yourself, nothing is impossible? Nothing at all is impossible. And it isn't. There isn't anything that's impossible. As we say, it's just what we believe is impossible, then is impossible to us. Well, that's impossible. No one can do that. There's always a way. But what stops the majority of us from going beyond that barrier that our mind has set up? It's unknown, right? It's unknown. Ooh, it might be too risky. Can't do that. I won't do that. It's too risky. Because, of course, we all need guarantees about everything, right? When we look at everything with curiosity, fear with curiosity, why am I afraid of this? What's this about? Why am I feeling fearful about this or doing this? How come I'm feeling guilty about this? What's up with that? Okay? And this is pretty much an ongoing thing. So you can see that, we have a certain amount of time. We don't know how much, really, right? I mean, you could come into a baby body, 9 months later, you got to leave it. Something happens. You can stay in a body to be 90, 100, 110, 120, some people on the planet. But look at your condition. Look at your physical condition. Look at your compromised, your bone structure, your flexibility. Maybe one or two rare instances. You can ask anything of this universe. Anything. And it is not too much. And when you've mastered fear and you're fearless, you are the most desired, empowered, and beautiful being in the entire universe. Whatever your heart desires instantly begins to manifest into this world. You see what stops us? We do this, all of us do this to ourselves. That's what stops us. Now, to many, this sounds crazy, ridiculous, or outrageous. That, someone could do this. Whatever their heart desires instantly begins to manifest into this world? Yeah, right. Yet when we learn how to transform fear, every moment becomes an invitation to meet the divine. Awaiting within each person, each being, is an enlightening heart, opening godly experience. Discovering this fearless freedom begins with one simple step. Approach all fear with fascination. See, and what happens is life will take you into a higher state of expansion instead of deeper limiting sensations of contraction. Fascination makes us become more open, relaxed, and receptive to the magic that is all around us. We naturally want to dive into life and experience each being we meet with endless wonder, curiosity, and this creates more intimacy. It requires tremendous courage to change your relationship with fear. Yet if you don't, fear will continue to castrate the rest of your life. Haven't you seen it? Haven't you seen that happen? Someone lives in constant fear. It's like they're sterilized in one position. Here's a great way to challenge yourself. Pick one day where you are going to create more freedom in your life. One day. By meeting your fear with fascination. Whatever may happen to you in these short 24 hours, don't let any fear shrink you. Yet allow it to move through you in such a way that it creates a transformation inside you. Breathe into your fear, welcome it, and when you say yes to it, it will shift before your very eyes. Now, when you can maintain this commitment to yourself for this one day, you might just believe by evening time that you are one of the most fortunate, sacred, and amazing beings who are alive on this planet. Now, we all know the possibility of living in doubt, skepticism, and resistance to this life will always be there. In each moment, fear can sneak in and take on one of these disguises. Doesn't mean we have to pay attention to it. We can choose to ignore any fearful energy or feeling that we sense growing inside of us and breathe beyond it. Simply take a look underneath the contracted fear-based energy and you'll see that it's an angel in disguise simply there to help us create deeper roots of love. Now, a good thing about fear, it has a very special and sacred job in our lives. It is going to make sure we don't die without feeling ridiculously alive. When you're not pouring or pouncing on your life mission, taking the risk to open your heart to love every day, believing in the impossible, reaching for the miraculous, then fear will do its job and start eating at you. We do need it there, right? Yet we don't have to live in it. Now, when our world, completely without the concept of fear, you know what we would be? We'd be all zombies. There'd be no courage or vigilance of awareness. We wouldn't be very accurate at focusing our precious attention and intention into what makes our heart fully sing. And you talk with different people who have been in different situations in this life where, they could have chosen fear, they had fear, but then courage came in. Could have been saving someone's life from drowning. That happened to me a long time ago. I was on a high dive, and I was lifeguarding this pool area, this big pool. And Now, of course, parents are instructed to keep their children in the, waiting pool area where it's real, they watch their children can play in there. But on occasion, something goes awry and the child goes into the actual adult area of the pool, the big, kind of Olympic pool, deep. It's about 12 feet deep at one end, at the dive end. And then, of course, as you well know, it gets less and less. So one day, I was on, there were two diving boards, okay, so low one and a high one. I was on the high diving board. Now, picture this. You're on that night, you're up there quite a ways, and you see, because you're constantly looking around at everything to make sure that no one's in harm's way. So this child, about 5, 6 years old, falls into the adult area of the pool. And where the child fell in, it was about, now remember, 5 years old, not even 3 feet tall. So then, child just starts sinking, can't swim. Now, what are you going to do? Am I going to go all the way down the stairs to then run and get there? Or am I just going to dive on the high dive? Now, I had a sprained ankle. Wasn't too bad. It started to heal. So there was a moment there where I said, what the heck am I going to do? I did have fear. Because I got to hit the water at the right way without hurting myself, and then I got to get to that child as quickly as possible. And on top of it, there's people in the pool. So I didn't care to dive onto somebody. So I just embraced the courage, and I said, I'm just going to do it, period. And so I dived off. I got to the child just in time, resuscitated the child, where that you cough up water, and saved the child. And what was more important at that time to me? What was I valuing the most? I was valuing that child's life. Really. I didn't have the fear left, and I knew I would be okay. This is a prime example, and I'm sure all of us have had situations where we've chosen, the courage just comes in. We leave it. We overcome it. It just totally, it vanishes. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to be a hero. It isn't that at all. We know that. It's that life is God, God is life. So you look at somebody in trouble, and you don't care prematurely, that the God has to leave that body. You do what you can to save that life. And many of us do it in small ways, a lot, by what we say, how we feel, how we convey things to people, how we convey things to ourselves. How do you typically respond when fear shows its scary head? Now, I know a lot of people, I've known a lot of people through the years, where they run and hide. They retaliate with anxiety. And when fear comes into our body, what happens? Well, you got to make it more conscious so that you learn how to use fear instead of being used by it. We start out, isn't it amazing? We start out where we're mastered. We're mastered by the ego mind. We don't know it, okay? All these things were mastered by our thoughts. We have all of these masters basically directing us, guiding us, telling us what to do. And then we begin to say, I make my fear more conscious, so that I learn how to use fear instead of being used by it. So When you stop feeding fear, fear can feed you. All it is just energy. That's it. And when you find out how to welcome it in with curiosity, it sharpens your focus, clarifies your intentions, makes your whole body mind super passionate about what you want to get out of life. So, it's a choice. It will shake you to your roots. This is what it means to do what to do so that the real metamorphosis can begin. Stop resisting fear. Start welcoming it in. Learn how to ride that hungry tiger instead of being eaten by it. You will actually enjoy everything about life again. Some of us, maybe the majority of us, are all running away from ourselves. Yet, whatever parts we are running away from always end up becoming what we run towards at some point. I remember James Gardner, you probably remember him, he was an actor. He was being interviewed and he made the comment, he said, we spend a lot of our lifetime trying to get away from the womb, and the rest of it trying to get back in it. So you find what it is you truly fear: love, intimacy, success, failure, whatever it is. Invite it in. See how all your ancient phobias instantly flip around and become ways of enthralling fascination. Have fun with it. You can look forward to each meeting you have with fear, and when you do, you've truly mastered the game. I'll join you in a meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and a slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Feelings are what make this life extremely rich and juicy. They give your life dimension and create a more intimate and personal experience of reality. Your feelings enable you to heal yourself as well as accept the infinite mystery of life. For today, allow yourself to let down your protective shields with this world and explore how you really feel about yourself, others, and the world today. Give yourself permission to feel everything and anything you can. Invite in and explore every type of feeling that comes into your body today. Confront the feelings you've been avoiding and breathe deeply into them. Sit with them. Simply feel them. Keep your mind and heart open to this rich, rewarding, egoless experience. This is your turn to be emotionally free. Trust your feelings. Stop resisting them. Dive into each one with an open heart, full of curiosity, wonder, and courage. When you stop trying to manage and control your emotions, they will transform you from the inside out. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, May 8, 2024. A little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, and around 9 p.m. Eastern for the Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. Just watch the magic flow.